Hey everyone, and welcome today to another Daddy Tip of the Day. Today I want to talk about your children and school, how that looks like. So in my experience as a classroom teacher, what I would get most of the time at parent conferences with parents is that they would tell me how amazing their kid is at home and how quiet and just wonderful their kid is at home versus what they were like in my classroom. Or on the opposite end, I would tell them things like how outgoing and boisterous and sometimes loud, sorry, I'm feeding the baby, how loud it would be in the classroom. And they would tell me that the opposite was happening. At home, their kid is just so quiet and held back and reserved and blah, blah, blah. So I'm telling you all this because what happens is that what the kid that you see at home is not necessarily the kid that you see at school. Around other students, around other adults, outside your influence as a parent, you tend to get a different kid. So I bring all this up because there's been a friend who reached out to me to ask for my advice in how to navigate the school system with her kid. There's been some complaints and she's hearing some things that don't add up, according to her, because she's observed him in play dates. She has had kids over. It's not like this kid, he's an only child, but it's not like this kid never sees other kids and doesn't interact with other kids. As a matter of fact, as she tells it, he has a lot of friends and he goes over to play dates. So according to her, he's well socialized, but then he's getting reports at school that that some kids at school are bothering him, or also that he does not seem to be able to get along with certain kids and that sort of thing. And so my advice to parents who have this type of circumstance, if you don't recognize the kid that's reported about at school to the kid that you have at home, it's time to go into the classroom and observe. This is something that I recommend all parents do at least once a year. And sometimes they will not let you stay in the classroom if you haven't cleared a background check and all that. That's fine and dandy. You should at least be able to observe from outside. This is something we did with our then 5-year-old last year. For the paperwork at the school that he was at, I hadn't filled everything out, and so I hadn't cleared to be in the classroom for an entire day, but I was able to observe from outside. And when you do that, when you see your kids interact with other kids in the classroom under the direction of a teacher, and also seeing them in a play setting, in recess, and things like that, in sports, you can tend to see how your kid relates to other kids and how other kids relate to them. And that's the point, that's the magic point. When you take notes and you see certain things that may be aha moments to you, that's when the learning can start, because that's when you can give constructive feedback to your kid in certain instances of how to relate to another kid, how to talk to another kid, how to take turns and that sort of thing. Because that kind of learning, we hope that it happens all the time in the classroom. That type of teaching, direct teaching of, hey, I noticed that you did X, Y, and Z, and when you do that, people don't react the way that you'd like them, or maybe this is a more better way of doing it, etc. That kind of one-on-one direct teaching doesn't always happen in the classroom. You have to keep in mind that a classroom has possibly 20-something other people that a teacher has to take care of, that has to make sure that they're getting their the curriculum in. they have to make sure that there's all these teaching points that have to be done, that as teachers, we don't always get the opportunity to sit down one-on-one with every student and address every single issue that may be happening throughout the year. So this is why it's important for us as parents, as advocates, to be able to observe the classroom environment, to be able to observe how our kids interact with other kids so that we can have that teaching point with our kid. I know with my 6-year-old son, like I said, we have sat down several times and talked about what we have observed with him and other kids. You know, simple things as when you're at the playground and you run into another kid that you play with, there should be some kind of introduction so that you guys can remember each other, and so that maybe you can play again and continue this. You know, hi, my name is so-and-so, how are you? You know, those social skills. But I'm talking even bigger than that. If there are behavior problems, if there are interaction problems that you notice with your kids that you don't notice at home, you will likely see some of those if the reports that come from school don't necessarily match with what you have seen. So I hope this has helped. I appreciate your time and have a wonderful day.